Throughout the history of aviation, some truly bizarre designs have taken flight. To keep them stable and controllable in the air, engineers spent years developing various wing and tail control systems. Today, we'll take a look at the variety of aircraft control surfaces. Let's start with the most standard design. On the trailing edge of the wing, you typically find ailerons, which control the roll of the aircraft. At the tail, there are usually two control surfaces: the elevator, which controls pitch, up and down movement of the nose, and the rudder, which controls yaw, side-to-side movement. This is the basic minimum. Additionally, flaps may be installed on the trailing edge of the wing near the fuselage to increase lift. Leading edge flaps can be found on the front of the wing to prevent airflow separation at high angles of attack. To reduce speed, aircraft employ various air brakes that increase drag, and these come in the shapes of flaps, spikes, and even landing gear. Now, let's move on to some less common control surfaces. First, we have spoilers. Not the kind from movies, don't worry. In aviation, spoilers are usually installed on the upper surface of the wing to supplement or replace ailerons. They only deploy on one side, decreasing the lift on half of the wing, causing the aircraft to roll. On flying wing designs, like the German Horten, they are also used for yaw control. Spoilers and interceptors can also act as air brakes or work alongside them, such as providing extra downforce during braking. And that's not all. There are control surfaces that perform multiple functions. For example, there are ailerons that also function as flaps. These are called flaperons. They've been used for a long time on various aircraft, from the Swordfish to the Hornet and the Su-27. Some ailerons and flaps can also serve as air brakes, sometimes splitting into two parts. In this mode, they may stop functioning as control surfaces, or they may still be controllable even when split. The F-89 had a version of these, which the designers called deceleronds, though technically all air brakes are meant for deceleration. Still with us? Let's continue then. Horizontal stabilizers can have adjustable angles or be fully movable, which turns them into full-fledged elevators. However, that doesn't mean that the trailing edge of the stabilizer can't have its own elevator. For example, the British Javelin has such a setup. The stabilizer can also have its own flaps, like on the British Buccaneer. Additionally, fully movable tailplane stabilizers can deflect asymmetrically, participating in roll control. These are called tailerons. If an aircraft lacks horizontal stabilizers, the surfaces on the trailing edge of the wings that function as both ailerons and elevators are called elevons. For rudders, designers have also come up with an additional function. On modern aircraft with twin tails, the rudders can act as air brakes, like on the FA-18E. In fact, on the Super Hornet, almost all of its control surfaces, including the flaps and ailerons, act as air brakes. An interesting case is the Canard configuration. In this setup, horizontal stabilizers are mounted on the nose of the aircraft. These stabilizers may be fixed and participate in generating vortices that increase lift. If the front control surfaces generate substantial lift themselves, they may be considered an additional wing. An example of such a design is the Swedish Viggen, which even has flaps on its front stabilizers. Often, front stabilizers are made movable, not only to assist in control, but also to maintain the optimal angle of attack and continuous vortex generation. In modern aviation, it's common for all movable surfaces to participate in control across all axes. For example, on the Typhoon, the trailing edge of the wing serves as both ailerons, elevators, and flaps. We could call these flapavons. On the Rafale, they also serve as air brakes, so we might call them DC flapavons. Let's wrap up before we go completely crazy. Thank you for sticking with us. Let us know if you learned something new, and see you in our next episodes.